Hey everyone, welcome to another ACE Tuesday. It's me again, Danny, and today's video will be about the project management, content and scope. We'll go through on how is ACE being organized, our Discord server, our Trello boards and our GitHub repository. How can you be part of it? How can you help? Play it already or just stay in touch with news and sneak peeks? And then, for the second part, I'll show some cool things we're already working on. Alright, so the main tool we're using for the organization of ACE is probably our Discord server. In there, we have not only a public area where we can talk pretty much about anything, from Stonehearth to other games to bad memes, but also find people to play with, discuss ACE and suggest new stuff and ideas. Even without the ACE project itself, I would like to point out the Idea channel as an amazing source of inspiration for all modders. It's great to see how much excitement and how many cool new things people are coming up with, and even though most of them doesn't really fit the ideals of ACE, many of them would still make up excellent mods nonetheless. So it's definitely worth checking out. Other than that, we have different workspaces where the different teams can discuss and share their work, get input from their fellow volunteers, and realize impromptu meetings to discuss how to implement or create something. Discord works as our communication platform, but the places where the magic really happens are our Trello boards. We have 3 boards, one for design ideas and discussions, new suggestions and thinking out systems that are yet to be implemented. Here's where all the things that we want to add but still have to talk about how to add are being discussed, and where the design team does most of their work. Then we have the main mod and the mountain folk boards. These boards refer to everything being done to Stonehearth as a whole, the main mod, and everything that needs to be done specifically for the new faction, the mountain folk submod. Following a Kanban-like pattern, our boards work with the traditional backlog, that is, what needs to be done, doing and done lists. But we additionally have a couple of extra lists for quality assurance and then finally an approved list. Should something fail while being tested, it goes back to the second list. Should everything works fine and no changes are needed, according to quality assurance, it goes forward and is added to the master branch of the mod. Of course, quality assurance can only do so much, and as the name implies, it is mostly there to ensure the quality of the final product, which in our case is to make sure it stays true to Stonehearth and all the ideals of ACE you probably already know. But we'll also need a lot of testing. You know how bugs are, and I'm not talking about the trappers ones. And since we mentioned testing, let's talk about our last platform, GitHub. This is where the mod currently is, basically. Git repositories are traditionally used for team-based or open development of code. Due to their flexibility of allowing pretty much any files or folder structures, they can also be used for projects as a whole, which is our case. The entire work being done in ACE is currently open and available in a public repository, so all you need to play it, if you wish, is to get the link and download it. Of course, it's an unfinished work in progress and might not be the best experience yet, but feel free to share your time with it in our public communication channels. With GitHub, it's very easy for our volunteers to work and make changes and then publicly commit them in a way that everyone else just needs to pull the changes into their own machines for all to have the same mod in the same state. That allows for a more fluid workflow and is essential for any large project. With all that said, make sure to join our Discord by using the links provided in the description of this video or in our forum thread. In there, you can also find our Trello boards and our GitHub repository. Now, as I said, we'll wrap this video by showing some of the cool things being done for ACE. I won't go into much detail on each of them, because they can be further explored in future videos. But let's go! You might remember this one from the first video. I did not talk about it, but it definitely showed up. Yes, it's a training dummy. Training dummies will be added and be functional. Training is a specific action of combat jobs that can be toggled off and probably will be balanced to not allow them to get the maximum level just with training. But it will surely help those fresh recruits out there. We're also pretty much overhauling water, giving it a purpose and new uses, but most importantly, making it simple, however with a complex base of water tools that can be greatly expanded upon by modders. As of now, nearby water will improve the growth speed of crops, and crops that are submerged will, on the other hand, be negatively affected. All of this can be set up on a crop-by-crop basis, so you can create your own crops that prefer more or less water. Not only that, but water is now able to carry a signal, as our hydraulics master Paul says. that can be used to switch states of things. Our basic implementation will be through the addition of a couple of water wheel tools, but the potential is huge. During a design meeting, the overall mentality of the system was that water could be used as a simple redstone system, as seen in Minecraft. ACE itself won't go as far, but it will provide the tools to do it. Oh, and if water is getting many uses, we assume you will want to control it better, right? The wet and dry stones are amazing additions through the Geomancer, but we can help with some more from the engineer. So we're also adding pumps and water gates that will easily allow you to play Super Mario all day long. Talking about the engineer, improving it is one of our main initial goals, and as such we're also bringing new traps, a new craftable lock that can be used to create more types of locked doors other than the iron door and more. And if you really like doors, you might be happy to know that you can now have horizontal doors, or, trapdoors, hatches, and cool basement entrances. And another really cool thing that is also a huge effort from the art team is to give a new face to Stonehearth with added diversity and variety. We're not talking about new things, but about giving each faction a more unique visual and style by having different armor, workbenches, and professional outfits. Artists have been working a lot to make sure the style is consistent between factions and, of course, faithful to Stonehearth itself. And this kind of diversity doesn't end with factions, but it goes into the biomes themselves. Each biome is now populated with more unique creatures, like scarab beetles and scorpions, ground squirrels and desert cottontails for the desert biome, spiders and stag beetles, winter foxes, arctic bunnies, and grey squirrels for the Arctic, and our very own set of diverse creatures for the highlands, which includes the grasshopper, the ladybug, red squirrels, and grey hares, among other things. And finally, one last thing I would like to point out are some new resources. Inspired by the concept of standard resources for modders that works so well in other games like Kerbal Space Program that also has a package of common community resources, we're expanding the default Stonehearth resources with several much needed new types of resources. Albeit our implementation of them is relatively shallow, remember, this is a horizontal expansion. We're adding a lot of resources that can, and hopefully will, be further used by modders in the future. Many of them were already in the game, just not properly identified or used, like kitting, bones, fruits, nuts, among others. We can talk more about that in the future, but for now, I hope this is enough to grasp a bit more of ACE's goals and ambitions. Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe or follow our different communication channels for more. Goodbye!